Yes, red does have good cards too. Welcome to another game of Clonehead Commander. This time featuring Feldon of the Third Path, Karona, False God, Erebos, God of the Dead, and Rafiq of the Many. My opening hand. Josh's opening hand. Kyle's opening hand. Oh, and this is OG Kyle, by the way, just so you don't get Kyle confusion. Rob. Rob starts the game with Seaside Citadel. I play Swamp. Josh plays Valakut the Molten Pinnacle. Kyle plays Forest. Rob plays Salt Crusted Steppe. I play Swamp and cast Mindstone. Josh plays Scalding Tarn and casts Mana Crypt and Pilgrim's Eye, getting a mountain and then sacking Scalding Tarn, paying a life to get another Snow Mountain and put it onto the battlefield. Kyle plays Flagstones of Trocaire and casts Sylvan Library. Rob adds a counter to his step at the end of Kyle's turn. Rob plays Mystic Gate and casts Augury Adept. I play Strip Mine and cast my commander. Josh plays Snow Mountain and then attacks me for 1 with his artifact. Kyle draws 2 extra cards on his draw step and then pays 4 life to keep one of the extra cards. Kyle then takes 2 damage from an untapped Hollowed Fountain and casts Prismatic Omen. Kyle then casts Ponder, rearranging the top 2 cards and drawing a card. Rob plays Academy Ruins and then casts his commander, Rafiq. Rob then attacks Kyle for 6 damage with the Augury Adept. Rob then reveals Woodfall Primus off the top of his library, gaining no life due to my Erebos, but putting the Tree Folk into his hand, and then also puts Tundra into his hand, also from the Adept. I start my turn by playing Swamp and then cast Worn Power Stone. Josh plays and breaks Arid Mesa, taking 1 damage and putting a Snow Mountain onto his field. Josh casts Soul Ring and casts Caged Sun, naming red. Josh then attacks Rob for 1. Kyle pays 4 life with Sylvan Library. Kyle plays Swamp and passes his turn. Rob plays Tundra and then attacks Kyle for another 6 with Augury Adept. The Adept adds Karn Liberated and Capsize to Rob's hand, gaining Rob no life. I pay 2 life and draw a card with Erebos. I then exile Rob's graveyard with Bojuka Bog, and then cast Siphon Mind. My opponents each discard and I draw 3 cards. Josh again rolls no damage with Mana Crypt on his upkeep. Josh casts Crucible of Worlds and returns Arid Mesa from his graveyard to the battlefield, and then sacks the Mesa, paying 1 life, to put Snow Mountain into play from his library. Josh then attacks me again for 1 with his Kite thingy. Kyle Worldly Tutors at the end of Josh's turn, putting Solemn Simulacrum on top of his library. Kyle draws and casts Solemn, also playing Overgrown Tomb tapped. Kyle finds and puts Mountain into play with the robot. Rob puts a counter on his Salt Crusted Steppe once again. On his turn, Rob tries to equip the Adept with Sword of Feast and Famine, but I go for the Throated instead. Rob then attacks me for 8 with Rafiq of the Many, 8 commander damage. I cast Sculpting Steel and name Josh's Caged Sun, then naming black. I cast Damnation, mostly to deal with Rafiq. Kyle draws a card when his Simulacrum dies. I cast Soren Markov and put Rob's life total to 10. Josh takes 3 damage with Mana Crypt on his turn. Josh plays Arid Mesa and gets another Snow Mountain, paying a life and making a Valakut active. Josh then casts Gauntlet of Might, still holding Comet Storm in hand, almost to the point where he can kill everyone. Josh casts his commander. Kyle plays Strip Mine and casts Chromatic Lantern, and then casts Urban Evolution, drawing 3 cards. Rob casts Consecrated Sphinx on his turn and draws 2 cards on my turn. I roll up Soren, dealing Josh 2 damage and gaining me 2 life. I cast Crypt Rats, turning on Erebos, and then attack Kyle for 6 commander damage with Erebos. On Josh's upkeep, I activate Crypt Rats for 8 damage so that Rob doesn't continue drawing so many cards. In response, Josh activates Feldon to make a copy of Pilgrim's Eye to get a mountain. Every creature then dies, and every player takes 8 damage. Josh then takes 3 damage from Mana Crypt. Josh plays Snow Mountain and kills Soren with Valakut damage. On Kyle's turn, Kyle pays 2 life and casts Phyrexian Metamorph, naming Caged Sun. Kyle then strips Josh's Valakut. With the Strip Mine effect on the stack, Josh finally casts Comet Storm for 16, dealing me, Kyle, and Rob that much damage. In response, Kyle casts Sphinx's Revelation, drawing a bunch of cards but not gaining the life from Erebos. Kyle also Corrosion Grips Josh's Crucible before he dies. The Strip Mine trigger fizzles. On my turn, I sack Mindstone to draw a card. I then cast Caged Sun for black and cast Read the Bones, putting 2 cards on the bottom and then drawing 2 and losing 2 life. I cast Grey Merchant of Asphodel, losing Josh 3 life and gaining me 3 life. Josh casts Karn Liberated and exiles a card in my hand. Josh also recasts Feldon. I strip mine Valakut and attack Karn with Grey Merchant. I also cast Beacon of Unrest, returning Crypt Rats to the battlefield and shuffling the sorcery back into my library. I activate the rats, killing Feldon and dealing 3 damage to Karn. On his turn, Josh loses 3 life from Mana Crypt and casts Sneak Attack, and sneak attacks no other than Dwarven Miner into play and attacks me for 3 with the Dwarf, winning the game for Feldon. Good job. Holding Comet Storm in hand, Josh went all in on that plan, playing Caged Sun and Gauntlet of Might. He was stoked when Rob attacked Kyle again and again, then when I shotgunned Rob with Soren, and then attacked Kyle and crypted everyone. Only I survived the storm, but it stopped me from using Erebos to dig for much needed card draw to be able to finish off Josh. That's it for today, and remember, you'll need the password if you're planning on joining the Skull and Clones Society. Alright.